All right, there we go. Computer error. All right, so like I mentioned, my name is Kristen Tabar. I am an advisor here with Marshall Reddick Real Estate. A little bit about me, I started with the company 3 years ago, and I was recruited actually by our VP himself after my husband and I rekindled a relationship with him at their 10-year high school reunion. That's us in the middle there, and a fun story about that picture, that's actually taken at Sanibel Island, which is right down there in the Cape Coral area. And to the left is my daughter, that's Super Sassers, and JT, my son, on the right-hand side. And I'd like to include that so you guys can see a little bit into my life and why I come to work every day. I'm working with all of you guys to help you accomplish your goals while I accomplish mine as well, which is ultimately to be able to stay home with these two little rascals. So I am a licensed agent here in California. My husband and I own rental real estate ourselves, so I am happy to say that I practice what I preach, and I'm always an open book, happy to share my experience, answer questions, anything that my clients need to help you guys along your real estate journey as well. For those of you just joining us for the first time this evening, a little bit about Marshall Reddick Real Estate. We are a full-service brokerage here in California. We have investment partners and teams in the out-of-state markets where we service as well. And that's where Ken and Terry come in the Florida area. And in addition to our agents down there, management, contractors, CPAs, insurance agents, anybody that is going to be part of the team to help our clients complete a real estate transaction. We are also a private money lender. So we work with our clients not only to help folks borrow private money who are purchasing with IRA or an LLC, but also we give our opportunity to our clients to invest in those mortgages and trust deeds. And we're also a property manager. So we manage our local clients' investment properties from LA down to San Diego. And then of course, we have our management teams in all of our investment markets to help our remote owners make sure that everything runs smoothly for their properties as well. So these are the markets. I mentioned we're in 16 across the US. And tonight specifically, we're going to be focusing on the Fort Myers, Florida area. We have offices in California, San Antonio, and Austin, and ultimately our goal is to move across the country into all of our areas. So stand by, because hopefully on one of these Fort Myers presentations in the very near future, we'll get to tell you that Terry is in fact a Marshall Reddick agent. So hopping right into how we choose where to invest, and this is going to tie into why the Fort Myers, Cape Coral, Lehigh Acres is such a great investment opportunity for our clients. So what are the criteria that we look at in each area to determine whether or not it has good investment potential? It's the job market. We want strong economic background, an area of growth and diversity, low vacancy rates, affordable housing, and this goes not only for renters, but also for buyers. We want to make sure that our investors are getting a good deal where the rent to purchase price ratios are making sense, but also it's got to be affordable for tenants because a vacant property doesn't do an owner any good. So we want to make sure that those rental rates are still affordable for the majority of the population. Is it a landlord-friendly state? Florida most certainly is. My husband and I own property down there ourselves and have had very good luck with our tenants, excellent management, and have found it to be much more friendly than California. We want a strong education, and I won't get too much into the details, but Ken and Terry will talk a little bit about what is going on in education down in Florida and how many new schools, for example, are being built down there. And then in addition, we want reliable property management. So since a lot of our owners are living here in California and Florida is on the other side of the US of A, we want to make sure that someone reliable and dependable is managing that property for you. So these are the top 7 criteria that we use to evaluate our rental market. And we take those things and we put them into these categories. And one of the things that Marshall Reddick offers our clients is free mentoring to help you guys put a plan in place and strategize on how to achieve your investment goals. So we're going to talk about, on your consultation with myself or your own real estate advisor, your goal setting. Why are you looking at investing in real estate? What are your purchasing options? What is your timeline? What is your criteria? Single family duplex, return percentages, things to that nature. And then we take those 4 things and we identify a market that works for you. Tonight specifically, we'll be hearing about the Southwest Florida market, and hopefully for many of you on the line today, that is going to be your market of choice. And then we introduce to the key players, Terry and Ken, again, as I mentioned, your management team, lenders, myself, everyone you need to make sure that everything goes smoothly during the course of your purchase, and then for the life of your investment as well. So for those of you joining us tonight, sorry, I had some coffee before this presentation. I'm a little high energy right now, folks. But we're going to do a quick poll question. And if you guys could take a moment to go ahead and answer this question. I'm interested in the Fort Myers, Cape Coral area because, and here are your options, for the income potential to capitalize on a rebounding market, because I have friends and family there, I threw a dart at the map and hit Florida, or my advisor told me to check it out. So take a couple seconds, let us know why you decided that you wanted to join us tonight, and we will post all of the results on a billboard on the 405. Just kidding, we're not going to share the results. It's really just for us to get to know who's joining us tonight. So let's go ahead. Give you guys a couple more seconds. 3, 2, 1, and let's close it out. And let's see what you said. Wow, 85% for the income potential. Good answer, guys. And good call joining the presentation tonight, because this market still has one of the best income producing properties that we see. And 15% are dart players, so I like to see that too. All right, guys, let's go ahead and we'll keep it going here. Oops, here we go. And this is fun. For those of you who don't know, I had the opportunity to visit Terry and Ken down in Southwest Florida in April. As I mentioned, my husband and I own property there. We have bought and sold a duplex, just closed on a new construction, and got to tour around the area firsthand, and I had never been there before, so it was really exciting for me to actually be able to visit an area where I've invested and where I own property, and that's so popular amongst my clients. It really gives a different perspective and allows you to talk about things intelligently. So that was really exciting. Wanted to share that with you guys. And without further ado, because I've already talked longer than I anticipated, it's my pleasure to introduce Ken and Terry Duffy. They've been our exclusive buyer's agents since 2004. Terry is my personal favorite, but don't tell any of the other agents. She's dependable, she's reliable, she answers calls, texts, emails. Literally, I've seen this happen within seconds. And she really goes above and beyond the expectations of our clients to make sure that they are pleased with their purchase. And Ken and Terry, I'll let you guys take it away.
Hello to everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. And everything Kristen said about me is absolutely true. However, Ken will be doing most of the talking tonight as far as giving you all the information about our area, just because he's a very good fact retainer. And then when we get to the end, I will be talking mostly about the properties that are available and giving you all the information on that.
All right, guys, how's everybody going? Everybody doing good? If you're driving, sitting, flying, or running, thanks for joining the podcast. And we do these quite often. Our market is still cranking along real steady down here in South Florida. Kristen, we had a good time with you guys coming down. It's always good to see buyers coming down to the area to buy. like I said, the market is continually doing well. Marshall Reddick investors are doing anywhere between 40 and 60 deals a year down here. So that alone tells us that our market is still flourishing. We still have plenty of room for growth. People are moving down here in droves, still moving to South Florida. A lot of baby boomers and retirees are heading south because Florida is just a great environment to retire to. Your pensions don't get taxed when you move into the state, so people are looking south. So, but getting back to us, Terry and I, we've been doing real estate since 2004. I've been a professional firefighter down here in Florida for 15 years. My background is actually in high-rise construction. I worked 20 years in New York City, Dallas, and Denver, installing high-rise elevators. So my degree is basically in mechanical electrical engineering. So I understand how houses are built, put together. So that's kind of what I bring to the table as far as vetting the properties. We've been working with Reddick since 2004. We are investors ourselves. We've owned between probably 16 and 11 properties. We've kind of bounced back and forth going through the economy when it went downward. We jumped on and bought some vacant lots and land down here when the market was at its bottom. Probably wish we could have bought more because the prices have literally doubled since then. But we've been dedicated communication specialists for Marshall Reddick. Terry is basically the one that does the heavy lifting. She's the communicator. So when you guys do a deal and you make contact with Terry, you'll mostly be hearing, or probably 100% of the time be hearing from her, taking all the information. If you guys have any questions, if you are in the beginning process of just starting to invest down here, just call that phone number you see in front of you and just touch base with her, and she can get the ball rolling, answer any questions. And of course, Kristen is a good resource as well. She's been down here, and like I said, they're currently building and own rental property down here as well. So Terry's email address is current. The office phone is the house. She works out of the house, and we have a broker's office up in Cape Coral where the property management is. So write the information down, and just remember that this webinar will be posted on the Marshall Reddick website for you guys to reference the slides and the information that you see here tonight. So Southwest Florida, the the MSAs that we deal with are Fort Myers, Cape Coral, and Lehigh Acres. Obviously, Florida's a peninsula. The shaded green area are the markets that we deal in and we live in. We actually live in Estero, which is just above Bonita Springs, and just in the southern part of Fort Myers. So we're very familiar with the area. We've been here since 2001. And the area has just continued to grow. So much growth is going on down here now. And has continued for the last probably 8 to 10 years since the market has rebounded. Florida gained over 300,000 permanent residents last year. This year's numbers are right up around the 357,000 mark. So there's consistently people moving into the state, and that creates a lot of jobs. So this is kind of a blown up map of what we're looking at as far as the area down here, a little more in depth. So you've got Cape Coral, which is one of the largest cities by landmass in the state of Florida. It's actually second. So Cape Coral is really a hotbed for a lot of duplexes that Terry's selling, a lot of cash flow properties. Cap rates are very good. We do pretty much anything down here from single family home to duplexes. We're in the process now of contracting a 36 unit for an investor down here. So they do have commercial properties that are available if that's something you are interested in, as far as multiple doors for higher income. Lehigh Acres is another bedroom community over to the right on the upper right hand corner of the map. That's where a lot of the building is going on as well. It's a bedroom community. Prices are a little bit lower than Cape Coral. Only because Cape Coral is surrounded by water, and it is a much more developed commercially area in this MSA than Lehigh is. But Lehigh's got some very good lower end investments as far as price points, so the cash flows are a little bit better. Properties are a little harder to find out there because things move so quick out in Lehigh because of the affordability and the young families moving to the area. And then we've got the city of Fort Myers, which is an area that's very, it's older. It's an older city, but it's there's probably been probably 10 or 11 high rises gone up in the last 10 years down in that area, and there's continually more high rises going up, and just a lot of the urban renewal that you see in a lot of these areas throughout the country that are building all around water. So Sanibel Island over to the left is one of the top rated beaches in the world. It's always ranks around 2 or 3. Basically, South Florida is known for the beaches and the white sands. That's why a lot of people come to this area on vacation. We've had just through the Southwest Florida airport, we had over 4.5 million visitors just visit this area specifically in the past year. So Lee County is home to one of the fastest growing populations in the nation. We had a 2.31 increase last year in population just in Lee County. Lee County itself is about 650,000 full-time residents. When we go into our winter seasons where it's cold up in the Northwest and the Midwest, our population doubles. We usually go from 600,000 up to about 1.4, 1.3 million. So everything swells. The economy really starts cranking. Businesses, local businesses, they really make their money in that snowbird season. So research projects a 9% increase in Southwest Florida's age group. So, everybody kind of thinks Florida is like kind of where you go and all the old people show up and they just kind of come down here to die. But that's not the case anymore. It's really a changing demographic. We see it a lot. A lot of new businesses are coming down here. Healthcare is a huge job creator down here to take care of the aging community. So our age group used to be a lot older, but now it's 25 to 54. And it shows in the jobs and the companies that are moving down here. We had Hertz recently move down and make their world headquarters here. So younger families are moving to Southwest Florida, looking for careers. And what does that mean? Rental properties, and that's where the investment comes in, and that's an important puzzle piece that really works well because you buy an investment property and you can rent it out. 90% of the time when you go to contract on these properties, they usually have a renter in place by the time you go to escrow or you close, which is not always the case 100% of the time, but it predominantly is the case.
Before we go to the next slide, I wanted to just piggyback real quick, Ken, on something that you mentioned about, everyone thinking that Florida is just where old people go to die. We had an Uber driver who I'd like to think was my age, but let's be real, he was probably in his late 20s. But he worked in the medical field at one of the elderly care facilities, and he said that there was such a demand for work and there was such a demand for employees that it's really bringing in a lot of the younger medical professionals because there's so many job openings. And it's not just in elderly care, but he specified that was where a lot of the demand was, and it's bringing in a lot of those younger people. So just some food for thought for all of y'all out there.
And not that there's anything wrong with being old and coming to Florida to die either. So I just want to go on the record for saying that. So,
hey, my husband's trying to talk me into it, so you're absolutely right.
Employment down here is very strong. It's very low. Basically, if you can fog a mirror, you can get a job down here. There's a lot of things going on. They're building two hospitals right down the road from where Terry and I live in Lee County, down in South Fort Myers. So they realize what's going on. They're actually kind of behind the 8 ball. But these are just some statistics with what's going on. The industries with the highest employment rate in Southwest Florida back in 2017, they're pretty much the same right now. Education is huge. Last year we had, in 2017, we had 1,000 new students that poured into the school district. It caught the school district by surprise. But they're building 2 new high schools, and they just released 2 more middle schools and I believe an elementary school. The good thing with the Lee County School District was they bought a lot of land when the economy crashed. So they did some good 10, 15-year planning. So they're in the process now of identifying the 2 middle schools. The 2 high schools are already being built. Health services, Lee Health, they basically Lee Health used to, they used to have 4 different hospitals down here. They were all different names, like, Lee Memorial, then you had Health Park. Well, Lee Memorial they joined forces, and all the hospitals are all under one conglomerate now called Lee Health. What they did was they joined in numbers, they gained in strength, and now they're doing hospital expansions everywhere. There isn't a hospital in South Florida that is either like typical. There's one on Daniels Road right by the airport. The hospital is about 8 years old. They're now adding like 10 floors on top of the existing hospital because they just need more ERs. Like I said, I'm a fireman down here. They're building another level 1 trauma center. Things are just really moving forward because of the job growth. It demands it. They don't have a choice. They have to build the infrastructure to keep up with the growth. Information technologies is big. There's a huge company down here, Gartner, which is building another campus. They just broke ground on another campus, 75 acres right near the airport. When the old airport closed down, that part of the airport is just open commercial land now. So now they're turning it into what's called a Skyway Park, which is going to be a bunch of commercial businesses that are very close and adjacent to the airport. Residential and commercial construction, you see it everywhere on the roadways. There's dump trucks everywhere. There's the jobs, the trades, they're looking for work all over. I used to work in the elevator business down here when I retired in 2004 out of the elevator trade. And I talked to some guys that I still know in the business now, and they're literally actively searching for tradesmen. They're attracting for apprentices to try and get them on board because we're starting to, I started to see there's a lot of high rises going up again. The condos are coming back into fold where I work down in Naples. So road expansions, there's 2 huge ones, mainly out in Lehigh Acres. You've got the 82 expansion, which is a main road leaving and going into Lehigh Acres. So they're going from 4 lanes to 6 lanes. They're basically redoing every major intersection. And there's another expansion called the Homestead expansion, which is a road that runs right through Lehigh Acres, north and south. County infrastructure projects, Cape Coral is huge. They're doing what's called UEP projects. They're utility expansion projects where they're bringing water and sewer to all the houses in Cape Coral that were on well and septic. So the job market, like I said, it's blowing up in South Florida. It has for the past probably 7 to 8 years. It's just considerably, it's just basically building in steam. So it's moving forward. Last year, Cape Coral and Fort Myers created 4,200 new jobs in 2017. Probably in the next webinar, I'll pulse stats for 2018. Just some of the top Southwest Florida employers. Home Depot is at the bottom of the list, but if we go down to the bottom of the pyramid, like I said, healthcare is huge. Lee County School District, they both employ quite substantial numbers. Publix is the local supermarket down here. Then you got Walmart, Lee County, Board of County Commissioners, the Sheriff's Office, Cape Coral City Council, fire departments. Everybody's growing, so everything's just really moving in a positive direction. Just some information that we dig up. Always watch Forbes. They come up with a bunch of full list of America's fastest growing cities. Cape Coral ranks top 10 in the top 10 for the fastest growing cities for the 2nd year in a row. Cape Coral is just exploding. When Kristen was out here, those guys were driving around. They really had no idea what was going on until you're on the street driving and seeing what's going on. They've got a lot of big residential and commercial projects that are coming out of the ground. One of them is called the Bimini Basin. If you can remember that, you can write that down and go onto YouTube and just put in Cape Coral Bimini Basin. It's a mixed-use project that's breaking ground, where they're going to have commercial businesses on the bottom and 4 to 5 stories of residential units up top. And that's what the growing younger retirees are looking for. They want to be able to just shop downstairs and live upstairs and have everything located within one massive project. So job growth in 2017, just a bunch of different projection numbers on the left-hand side that we're talking about with regards to the Cape Coral area. So home price growth was 8.4% back in 2017. We're probably going to be right around that, or maybe, we're usually within 1 or 2 points higher or lower every year. We've been that way for the past 7 years. So Terry sold to some Marshall Reddick investors 4 or 5 years ago, and their properties have just outperformed what they could have ever expected in a steady, pretty solid job market. As far as real estate growth, their portfolios have actually done very, very well. So next slide. These are some of the beaches. There's a crazy lady right there. She got kicked off the beach. So these are just some of the
treasure and they asked her to leave.
So these are just some of the beaches in the area. These are actual photos. Kristen, when she was down checking out the area, looking at her investments, that's Fort Myers Beach and the pier that sticks out into the beach. Just on the other side, where you can't see out of the picture, is just the whole beach is lined with restaurants. If you look at the Fort Myers Beach photo to the right-hand side, there's a Estero Boulevard runs up through that peninsula, and it's just houses and condos and just all kinds of shopping and everything that goes on in a beach town. So this is just a little picture of some of the photos of the area and the beaches. So the city of Fort Myers is another area that we basically we try to find properties in the Fort Myers area, but it's kind of a unique area. It's either very, very low income or it's very, very high income as far as property values. There's all along the water you'll have just high-rise condos going up. Developers bought a lot of land back when the market crashed, and they're in the process of investing over $500 million in new high-rise condos and shops and office space. There's 2 buildings that are coming out of the ground called Allure Towers. They're 42-story towers. It's a developer in Miami that came over here and saw the land values when the market was down at the bottom, and he bought a lot of commercial land along the riverfront. So the 2 towers are going to be coming up out of the ground probably at the end of this year. The area is really been revitalized as far as, 5-10 years ago. You can go down there and there wasn't a lot going on, but now they've redeveloped the whole downtown district. They've ripped up the roads. The Luminary Hotel is going up now, so they're basically rebranding everything downtown, putting up a new hotel right next to the convention center. There's already 56 restaurants, and there's plans for a 600 car parking garage down there, which is more than needed in the area. So there's just a bunch of different stuff going on. Like I said, the internet is great. Just go in there and put in Fort Myers, Florida, and they'll just be, you can put in Fort Myers, Florida development, and they'll just be, you can spend hours reading about stuff that's coming out of the ground. This is Gartner, the information company I told you about. They are really big in information technology, IT. They help businesses do business better. They employ more than 1,200 people in Lee County right now, and they anticipate to double that by 2022. That's why they're building a new campus. This is the original campus that they're in right now, right near Lehigh Acres and the airport, and they're building another campus probably about a quarter mile away on some commercial land near the airport, and that's where they're looking to expand into. So a lot of young business people get employed from this company, and the salaries are pretty good, which is good. If the salaries go up, the rents go up, which makes your property's cash flow a lot better. This is the Luminary Hotel that's going up. It broke ground in January of 2018. It's going to join and hook into the Harborside Convention Center, which is right downtown Fort Myers. Another great featured boutique hotel that's going up. So a lot of stuff going on downtown Fort Myers. To the left, those are the towers I was telling you about that are going to be built, probably start being built this year. Where the arrow is pointing in that picture on the right is where the towers are going to go up. That building is just below the blue arrow to the right. That's the convention center. That's where the hotel is going to be built, right adjacent to the convention center. If you go to myriverddistrict.com on the internet, you'll see a lot of stuff, future plans and things that are going on downtown Fort Myers. Just a lot of job creation going down there. So we'll touch base about Lehigh Acres. It's one of the largest residential communities in Lee County. It's about 150 square miles. when you include all the canals and everything that's out there. It's a pre-planned residential community. It was set up back in the 50s. It's right around 100,000 residents right now and growing every single year. It's just east of Fort Myers and it's inland. So it's about 35, 40 minutes from the beaches. Real estate prices are lower and cash flows are higher. It's the highest elevation in Lee County, and therefore there's no flood insurance. So if there's no flood insurance required on your property, that means you're going to be spending less money on your overhead for your investment, which means you got higher returns. So it's located about 40 minutes, like I said, from the beaches. Lehigh Acres location is 15 minutes from the airport, very close to the airport, and the ballpark. We have a big spring training camps down here, so it's a great location. A lot of young families move out to Lehigh Acres because of its affordability. So, and like I said, population is climbing up over 100,000, which is good. This was the Homestead Road widening project that we talked about. Without going through all the verbiage there on the top, they're basically taking every single road that is in Lehigh Acres and they're going to expand it. The people, when they leave for work in the morning, and it's kind of like, in Southern California, it's not quite anywhere near the 405, but it's busy enough where the DOT said, hey, we have to do something. So they are basically every main thoroughfare going into and leading out of Lehigh Acres is being redeveloped and expanded, which is good because that just increases traffic. All the intersections are being redone as far as, commercial, gas stations being built, all those kind of things, Walgreens and that kind of stuff is going up. So this is just one of the road widening projects that is going on in Lehigh Acres. So Lehigh Acres current property prices and rents. These prices, they're what, current? Would you say they're pretty current? All right. So the last time we did the slideshow out in California, the prices are pretty much right around the same as what Terry's saying. So this is what a typical home site looks like up in the upper left-hand corner, about 159,000. Rents are current right around 1,300. Duplex home sites, Lehigh Acres, between 212 and 230, and rents are total 2,100 for both sides together. So property taxes, Lehigh Acres as a 1.2% of assessed value, and that's your property tax rate for Lehigh Acres. So those are typically what the home sites look like and the construction looks like. Same thing for Cape Coral. This is the pricing and the rents. Single family home, upper left. We can find them between 202,000 and 230,000 with a property typically collecting 1,500 plus in rents. And the duplex home sites range from 249 up to 350, and the rents are 1150 to 1295 per side. And the property value tax rate is a little bit higher in the Cape, between 1.5 and 1.8, depending on its location within Cape Coral. Cape Coral is a huge landmass area, so there's some variation in the property tax. Nicknamed the Waterfront Wonderland. Like I said, if you guys go to the internet and put in Cape Coral, Florida, it's a planned city conceived as a boater's paradise. It was built back in the 50s. It was built by the Army Corps of Engineers. They dug out over 400 miles of canals throughout the entire Cape, and they basically wanted to conceive a community where you can have a boat in your backyard and drive to restaurants and drive to wherever you wanted to go, or go out into the Gulf of Mexico and go water skiing, go fishing, do whatever you need to do by boat. So it's a Cape typically by definition is bounded by three sides of water. Cape Coral real estate provides access to the Gulf of Mexico. So a lot of the properties there you'll see from aerial views. If you pull stuff up on the internet, it's just everyone's got boats in their backyard. So if you're a boating fanatic, Cape Coral's the place for you to be. It's just an aerial shot, but the darker areas is obviously the water in the canals, and all those canals are connected to the Gulf of Mexico. So the canals will go up and down with the tide, and obviously your boats are right there in your backyard. So it's got over 400 miles of boating canals or navigatable canals. So it's a huge landmass area. If you pull it up on Google Maps, you'll see it, and it's really something to look at. Cape Coral, as of 2017, has 186,000 residents and climbing. There's 3 to 4 marinas in the area. Tarpon Point, the one on the left, is huge. They're constantly doing development down there. Developers are looking to add to the marina itself. On the bottom of the picture there, you'll see some open land there where they're looking to build some more towers. Population on track to exceed over 205,000 by 2020 in Cape Coral. Cape Coral is growing immensely. Another project that's in the stages of coming out of the ground. Cape Coral is experiencing a strong uptick in commercial building sector. The number of commercial building permits issued by the city increased 183% between 2013 and 17. New housing starts were up by 108% over the same period. So when you look at it over a period of time, Cape Coral has just continued to grow, and it's doing very well. If you're looking to invest in Florida, Cape Coral is probably the place where I would put my money down. And then if you had, you know, a little diversification, you can maybe do one out in Lehigh Acres at a lower price point. This way you're kind of diversified. Downtown Village Square consists of 250,000 square feet of commercial with 2 residential towers and a 1,000-car parking lot down below. So this is kind of a feature property down there in the south part of Cape Coral. City of Cape Coral, they finished this facility last year. The $10 million convention center, 35,000 square feet. The facility was located at the Westin Hotel in Tarpon Point. So the picture on the left is actually the Tarpon Point Hotel, the Westin Hotel. The convention center, that building just in front of the convention center, just in front of the hotel, is actually a parking garage. And then off to the parking garage, which you can't see in this picture, is the convention center, which is the picture on the upper right. So they kind of are getting into the market of conventions. It's on the water. This marina is pretty nice marina. You can do pretty much everything there, from rent jet skis to boats to do whatever you need to do if you're in town visiting and want to have some fun on the water. Colleges are huge down here. 2 of the big players is Florida Southwestern and Florida Gulf Coast University. There's probably 11 colleges in the area. And the 2 big players are Southwest Florida College and Gulf Coast University. They both have huge nursing degree programs. They have really good sports programs. Campuses are expanding. Southwest Florida is adding a baseball and a football program. So a lot of kids are coming to the area. Florida in itself is a huge college state. A lot of people come to Florida to go to the colleges. They got a very good educational and sports programs throughout Florida. So Fort Myers is very busy with regards to colleges as well. This is a basketball, volleyball stadium that opened up on the campus a couple of years ago, and it's been busy ever since. So this is just kind of showing you the commitment to the colleges, what's going on down here. And they're continuing to build. Actually, Florida Southwestern is looking to build a football stadium when they bring on a sports program, baseball and football. So another big job creator down the area. Construction is huge down here. Everything's really coming out of the ground. This is just some pictures of Florida Gulf Coast University. This college has been down here for probably over 20 years. They built a university village because they're having problems with the campuses down here getting housing for the students. So they're consistently building housing villages for the students. And typically when they put these buildings up there, anywhere from 150 to 300 units for college students. So the community village the university village just got completed now. These pictures are about a year old, and all the stores and everything are opened up. What they're looking to do is the colleges are kind of wanting to keep everybody on campus so that the colleges are more enticing to come to and get your higher education there, where if you can have your housing, have your shopping, have your restaurants right on the campus, and the campus will supply means to get to all these places, whether it be transportation within the college. That's what they're looking to do down here. And 2 of the big players, like I said, is Gulf Coast and Florida Southwestern. They're both looking to almost like in competition with each other. So it's good. It's creating a lot of jobs, and a lot of students are looking to go to these colleges. Shopping is huge down here. We've got probably 5 to 6 outdoor malls that are, big shopping venues. And when I say big, they have anywhere from 200 to 250 stores. Each of these malls have like big anchor stores, like 5 to 10 big anchors, like Dick's Sporting Goods, Bass Pro Shops. They all have your typical Targets, and this one here is Gulf Coast Town Center, which is probably within less than a mile from the college, Florida Gulf Coast University. So a lot of shopping down here. This is just one of many of these big outdoor malls. And they've all been built within the last 10 years. This one here is Miramar Outlet. This one's here probably been more than like 20 years. It's they got over 250 shops. They're all discount shops. It's an outlet mall. They just did an expansion, the last expansion on this shopping venue, and now they're looking at expanding parking for this. And this is also not too far. It's about 2 or 3 miles from the college. And Coconut Point, this one went across the street where Terry and I lived. When we moved here in 2001, it used to be a cow pasture across the street, and they turned, I think it's 275 acres into a huge shopping mall with anchor stores. You got Nordstrom's, Dillard's, just everything, Best Buy, everything you could possibly want. And basically they built it, big company out of Minnesota called Simon Group. They came in and built the mall because they saw the population potential and the growth, and it's literally, the mall's packed all the time. So it's grown really in tune with what's going on down here. Just adjacent to this mall now, across the street, they're building a hospital. So the hospital's going up. There's actually 2 hospitals going up. One is a 200-room hospital, and then they're putting a new emergency room in across the street. So the need is there. JetBlue Park was built in 2012. They brought spring training's big down here. We've got 2 teams, the Minnesota Twins and the Boston Red Sox. Every single year spring training, the amount of revenue that pours into this area is tremendous. This ballpark is built right next to the airport and kind of adjacent to Lehigh Acres. They built it and picked that location only because it was out where the land was available. So a lot of commercial land now, but we're starting to see, like in the foreground in the picture there, they're going to be building hotels and everything to support the amount of people that come down here for spring training. This venue is used throughout the year, though, not just for baseball. They have baseball camps and camping shows, and anything that you can possibly use a huge venue like this. They're using it year round. So it's another big investment for the area. And these are just some photos that I took of the residential high rises that are back in the area. So when the big investors, the big contractors are putting their money down, putting these 20 and 30-story condos up, and if they're investing money, then they know that the market's rebounded. So we always thought when the cranes come back, we know that the market is stable and strong again, and that's what we're looking at right now. So everything is really starting to. Well, it's not starting. It's just continually been growing over the past 10 years. Hertz was another big one. They got tired of being up in New Jersey. Lee County gave them a massive tax incentive to drag them down here. So they basically moved their entire world headquarters from New Jersey down to South Florida, and Fort Myers got them, which is good. Hertz is looking to add 1,700 new employees by 2020. And the campus, which is in South Lee County, is growing as well. So there's a lot of commercial development that's spurring off of this company around the area. So it means jobs, it means people moving to the area, and people need places to rent. So, and then the airport expansions are underway. They know that they have to expand the airport. Nearly 9.5 million annual passengers locally. Coming through here, approximately 23,000 passengers a day. The flights are looking to increase. The local impact to the local economy last year was $4.3 billion. They're looking to add an identical wing to the airport. They got the grants now to build a brand new control tower. Once they get the control tower built, then they can add a second runway and add more gates. So the airport's going to be expanding. Hopefully we can get better ticket prices to Orange County. So. And the detailed market data packet, that you can download free on Marshall Reddick website. Like I said, the webinar is on the website, but mainly the best thing to do is if you guys are looking to come into the area, got any questions about the area, you can email Terry, call Terry. She's got all the answers, and if we can't find the answer, can't get the answer to you, we will go out and find it. So that's pretty much it, I think, on my part. I don't know what the next slide is.
Next, we're going to bring in the legend herself, and Terry is going to go through some of the hand-selected properties for tonight's presentation. So, Terry, I'll let you jump right in.
Okay, first of all, a couple things I wanted to go over before we go through the slides is one of the questions that we always get asked about. It has to do with hurricanes, and I don't think I've ever had any investor not ask me about these. So we have a lot of myths about our hurricanes in our area. They do, start out in the Gulf of Mexico, normally over, in the islands, and they head this way. 90% of them do not even, even come close to us. They veer off, they dissipate in the ocean, or they go up the one way of the coast. We have not really been hit with that many. We did get hit with one last year, which was the first one that had hit us directly on since 1960. Prior to that, 10 years ago, one came close to us, but it didn't hit us. It was a tropical storm basically when it hit us, and it veered off and hit other people. The damage was very minimal. Out of about 300 homes that our property management company manages for the Marshall Reddick Group, there was only 7 that even had enough damage to put an insurance claim in. So that's important. The insurance, hurricane insurance, is included in your standard homeowner's insurance. It's not a choice. It's already part of that because that's how the state of Florida mandates it. The one thing that we do not have here is sinkholes, which I get asked about a lot. Sinkholes are up north, more towards the Tampa and Orlando area. So we do not deal with those either. So that's important. All the stuff that Kenny was talking about, just to kind of give you an idea, when we moved here, the malls that he was showing you and everything, they were cow pastures. Where Hertz Rent-A-Car is, it was a cow pasture. So we've had huge growth in our real estate here. The area that we live in is very South Florida. It's called Estero, and the average, where, like when we came here, there were cow pastures. Now the average house here is $302,000. So just to kind of give you, more insight of the growth that's really going on here. When I pick out properties that are on the Marshall Reddick website, I go on the MLS every single day, and I'm looking for anything that I think fits the Marshall Reddick investors criteria that I've kind of experienced since 2004 with working with them. I look at the prices, I look at, the photos that, the people put on there, the areas, obviously we're real familiar with it because a lot of them are in the same areas that we deal with. The difference between Cape Coral and Lehigh, Cape Coral obviously is surrounded by water, so the prices are a bit higher. In the long run, for very long-term holders, probably the appreciation is going to be higher because of the water. You guys live by the water, you know how that goes. You're not going to have as high of cash flow in Cape Coral because the prices are higher. The rents are higher, but not enough to cover the cash flow that we get in Lehigh. The properties that are cash flowing in Cape Coral right now are the new build duplexes. I think I've only got one left on the Marshall Reddick website. That's at 321. From there, they jump up into the 330s. So the appreciation is going to be higher in the long run, but the cash flow is going to be lower. And the cash flow is good on the new builds because the maintenance is much lower, the insurance is much lower. So those things come into play for those. In Lehigh Acres is just it's kind of a bedroom community. It's a melting pot, a lot of blue collar workers. everything, you know, the duplexes do great. They're a hot commodity in Lehigh right now. They cash flow great. And they're right now, they're you know, kind of the best things going. I do get other stuff that sometimes I have just other realtors that know that I work with a group of investors for a long time. And so they'll send me properties ahead of time, you know, before they hit the MLS, and give me a couple days to work with them. But it's just when you see the stuff come on, the stuff that I'm posting on our website is normally what, you know, other investors, realtors are looking for also. Everybody's looking for the best deals. So there's a lot of, there's probably, I think there's like 18 duplexes right now on the MLS. And, you know, they're ranging from the ones we have, the ones, anything that's under 200,000 are older, need a whole lot more work, and normally, you know, you don't really know what you're gonna get. So they're kind of sketchy, but some of these go all the way up to 299, which you're never gonna appraise. So I try to be really methodical about the ones that I put on the Marsha Reddick website, so we don't waste anybody's time. So that's how I find the properties that we pick.
So with that, are we ready, Terry, to move into the properties and talk a little bit about each one?
Yes.
Perfect.
All right. This is a really good one. Leonard Boulevard is, a lot of times when people go on, if you're a Google type of person, you go on Google Maps, it's not the best thing to do for Lehigh. And Kristen can attest to this, because when she came here, she was like, oh my gosh, there's so much more going on here than I ever would have imagined. Google makes everything look very rural, which Lehigh is just such a big land mass, and there's so much land available. So it is a lot of vacant stuff going on there. But there's also a lot of building going on. There's also a lot of commercial stuff being built, and it's not as rural as it looks. This is your standard, you know, it can be 3-bedroom, 2-bath with the garages, or a lot of them are 2-bedroom plus a den. The dens are always used for a 3rd bedroom, so they get the same amount of rent. Every duplex like this will get a minimum of $10.50 per rent. Some of them are even moving up to $10.75. We have a very aggressive property management company that we work for, so they always advertise them for a little bit higher, you know, and then they, you know, may settle for $10.50, but $10.50 is standard per side for these. Always read like the bottom. I try to put as much information as I can get down at the bottom. So, you know, if it's tiled throughout, you don't have any carpet to deal with. The driveways are nice. Driveways are not a big, they're not a deal breaker for anything in Lehigh. So when you see some of these properties that have, you know, gravel driveway or just the hard turf driveways, it doesn't get you any more rent if it's concrete or if it's gravel on the driveways. But look at these, and they cash flow, you know, the monthly income, $816, great cash flow on these guys. This particular seller on this one, we have done 6 other properties with him. He's very strict on his pricing, but he has done about 98% of any repairs that come up on the inspection reports. So they've been very, very good to work with. And Leonard Boulevard is a good area. It's a really close access to everything. This is another one, 12th Street. We've got 2. I actually just put another property on the MLS today on 12th Street. That's a little bit less than this. It's at 215. The area is great. It's a little bit quieter street, so a little more quaint, but the same thing, you know, this has got 2-bedroom plus a den. Basically it's gonna be the same thing, still over $800 a month income with the garages, with the paved driveways. So, I mean, this is a nice area. Personally, I like this area just because it's kind of it's a little bit away from, I don't know, it's not really the main area where Leonard's is it's it's a main street, but it's not an overly busy street. And this is a little bit more of a quiet area that a lot of people tend to prefer. And because this one's at $219 and the one I just put on was at $215, that we can probably get them for the same price. I didn't mean for you to go back. That's okay, Kristen. The next one's the brand new build that we have in Cape Coral, and it's just what it is. It's a brand new duplex. Lower,
and you guys, sorry, I was just going to point out really quickly that you'll see on the estimated maintenance that has been reduced to 5%. And that's because when you guys get the opportunity to read the Reddick Property Rating ebook, you'll see that for a new construction for the first 5 years, we estimate less maintenance than on a property that is older than that. So you will see the stars by that. That data has been changed to reflect the fact that this is a brand new construction.
Right. And you'll see the monthly incomes is less. I mean, it's, you know, but $250 less per month. You're going to have a lower cash flow on them on a monthly basis in Cape Coral just because of the price range. But in the long run, the appreciation rate in the Lehigh Acres to Cape Coral for the last 4 years has been pretty much even Steven. But just because Cape Coral is a more developed area and on the water in the if you're a long-term investor, you're going to have more appreciation in the long term on these. This is a very unique property. I was at this property yesterday. This is in an area that's called San Carlos Park, which is it's as far as South Fort Myers as you can get. It's literally like 10 miles from where I live in Estero. And it's the largest triplex that I've ever come across. The largest unit is 5 bedrooms. It's 2 bedrooms downstairs, 3 bedrooms upstairs, 2 baths. It's got a big kitchen, you know, a nice eating area. It's a nice piece of property. Most of the stuff that we get in San Carlos doesn't cash flow because the prices are much higher down in this area, and this one just happens to cash flow because the rents are much higher. I think one unit is rented for $2,000, which they're moving in on the 30th. The other 2 units, one I think is at $1,500, and I think the other one is at $1,100. And both of those units are rented. They're relatives, and they want to renew their leases when they come up. This area is in what's considered a flood zone. Flood zones are interesting, and they scare some people because they cost more money on your insurance, because flood insurance is, you know, delegated from FEMA. But where I live, when we moved in here, it was not a flood zone. 8 years later, they decided we were in a flood zone because we have a lake in our backyard. But the insurance that I put here on this property actually includes the flood insurance cost also, and it still cash flows. So it's a beautiful piece of property. I can tell you that, since, like I said, I was there yesterday. It cash flows great. It's been rented great. You know, for somebody who wants, you know, something a little bit bigger. And I did talk to these. We had a couple offers on this. They will not take lowball offers, and we have had some. We started out kind of low, seeing what they would go. And the last time I talked to the listing agent, they were willing to accept $465 if you paid the dock stamps, which basically would make it $468. So just if you're interested in that, that's good information to know. This is the next up and coming area. It's LaBelle. LaBelle is a little bit further out than Lehigh Acres. If you go on Google and you look at this, it's going to look like you're in the middle of nowhere. But it's a very strong growing little community. They've already made highway expansion plans to extend the main highway going out there. The demand for new build homes is huge out here. and they're actually getting higher rents here now than in Lehigh Acres because everything out there has been kind of older, and there's more people moving out there, and they need houses. So these are brand new builds out here. I think I've got two of them on the website. There's 5 of them. It's either 5 or 6 that are actually going to be available because they're in the process of being built. They will all be. There's one on there that is completed, and this one here will be completed in mid to late August. But they're beautiful houses. Obviously, everything's brand new in these also. So the rents are low. I mean, the insurance is low, the maintenance is going to be low, and the rents are high. This is our property management company. This is Travis Desir and his wife, Kimberly. They're a young couple. Travis is going to be 32, and I think she's behind him, and they have 7 children, which is interesting because they range from 1 to 14. Travis has got the patience of Job. I ended up going with them because we had experienced several different property management companies through the past few years, and they end up being the best ones, taking care of the property the best, having the, a nice portal online where the owners could get on and see everything that's going on with their accounts. They're very accessible for phone calls. Travis normally will have a phone call with any investor that wants to have a phone call with him prior to closing on the property, even prior to contracting on the property. Kimberly takes care of all the financing and, making sure the money goes into your accounts and stuff like that. They've got, I believe, 4 full-time property management representatives right now. And then they've got an office full of other people that do, a variety of stuff too.
They're one of the other reasons that this market is so popular. Not only is Terry fantastic and gives all of our clients a great experience on the purchasing side, but once the management team takes over, there's really just a quality of service there that is amazing, that our clients really appreciate, especially as I mentioned, a lot of people are owning from hundreds of miles away. And so it's really comforting to know that you can go online and check your portal and see your statements and, have that capability to really have a good hand on what's happening with your property and have a team that's really dedicated to communication and making sure that everything continues to run smoothly.
These are just a couple things Travis says. One of the main things, a lot of the companies down here that do property management, they've got, kind of funky stipulations in their contracts where you literally have to pay to cancel your contract with them and take your property back. It never made any sense to me. But Travis is not like that. You can cancel if you're not happy with his services. You can cancel with just 30-day written notice, and you're out. That's it. No money involved, which is great. They give us a discount. Most of the property management companies here charge 10 to 13% for their fees, and we have a 8% special deal for the Marshall Reddick. And then placing a new tenant is 50% of the first month's rent, where most companies charge a full month's rent. If we contract on a property that already is fully occupied, obviously there is no placement fee because their tenants are already there, so it doesn't cost anything. Everything's a year lease. They don't really do 6 months lease or anything shorter. None of our people have that. Everything is long term.
Yeah, for the most part, the only reason a lease wouldn't be re-signed, in my experience, and Terry can correct me if I'm incorrect, but it's usually because an owner is considering selling and the rents are slightly undervalued. So that gives the new buyer an opportunity to increase the rents to market value without having to honor what's remaining of a new lease. And other times it's just because owners are lazy, but more often than not, tenants are on a continual cycle of a 12-month lease.
They are, and most of the properties, the resale properties that you'll see, are going to be currently under market rent. And when a lot of these people, a lot of them are long-term tenants, some of them can be relatives, and the owners just don't want to raise the rents when they're going to sell them, because they think if they sell them and they can at least show there's an income coming in, you would rather have a little bit of income than no income. A lot of them will go month to month, and then they can be raised as soon as, we close on the properties. And normally that's the case. I mean, we get very few properties that are at maximum rent at the time that we purchase them.
Thanks, Terry, for the explanation. A lot of people ask, so that's very helpful. All right, guys, for everyone who's still sticking around with us, we have one more poll question for everybody. And this is going to relate to the properties. And this is just to get an idea, again, for what everybody is interested in. So take a couple seconds, let us know which property was the most interesting to you. Was it the duplexes in Lehigh Acres, the one on Leonard or East 12th Street? Was it the new construction Cape Coral duplex, the triplex in Fort Myers, or the new construction single family in LaBelle? I will give everyone a few more seconds to answer. Some of you may have walked away from your computer and now you're coming back because I am requesting that you do something. Thank you for that. Hopefully nobody fell asleep. Just kidding. I know you didn't, because this is the best market and the most interesting of presentations. So it looks like we're getting close to having everybody cast their vote. I'll give you guys just a couple more seconds, and 3, 2, 1, and done. Let's see how we came in. This is for you too, Terry. Looks like we've got 36%. The triplex took the lead on this one. Most interest there in that Fort Myers property. Coming in a close second, the 12th Street duplex in Lehigh, and rounding out third place is the new construction single family. So thank you guys all for participating. Fourth place, it's a tie for fourth for Leonard and Cape Coral duplex. Interesting results. I'm interested to hear more about that, everyone. Hopefully we can all connect at some point tomorrow. Looking forward to it. All right, so I will go ahead and try to wrap this up for us. We are coming up, we're actually a little bit past our time, so I'm gonna talk fast again like I did at the beginning. Sorry, everyone. We are on almost every social media platform. You guys can find us not only here, but we're on Zillow. You can look up reviews. You can see what other people are doing. You can find other presentations similar to this one or live on Meetup. So check us out there. Again, just wanted to kind of reiterate what we offer to our clients. So those of you on the call tonight, whether you're brand new to investing or you have a portfolio started already, we offer these same services. So talk about your goals, what's your experience, why did you start investing, or why do you plan to start investing, and put together a strategy that includes working on your time frame, setting those criteria, making sure that we select the correct market and then the right properties within that market, and get you connected to the right people to make sure everything goes well. And this is something that we just put together. I wanted to keep it anonymous, but as it turns out, this is what my personal portfolio looks like. And the reason that I wanted to throw this in is to show everybody what a real estate strategy looks like. A long-term buy and hold plan isn't a get-rich-quick scheme, and it's not going to make you a millionaire overnight. It's something that needs to be planned and strategized so that when you start, you can see what the next step, you can see what the future looks like. So my husband and I purchased our first property back in 2006, closed on the most recent one in April of this year, and there have been several others in between. As I mentioned, we purchased with Terry in 2015. That purchase price for a duplex was $115. and we sold late last year for 188.5, to give you guys an idea of what that appreciation looked like. And we really see those numbers continuing to increase. So great time right now to capitalize on a market that's still growing and still rebounding from 2008. And call me and let's work out your plan so that you can have something that looks colorful and fun like this as well. Here's my information on the board. You can reach out to me directly via phone or email. I am not always available. I don't always answer in the middle of the night like Terry will, but I do my best to be available to my clients whenever they need me. And that extends, of course, to Terry and to all of the team that you'll be working with when you decide to work with Marshall Reddick. And on that note, since it's 7:42, I want to make sure that you guys get out of here and spend the rest of your evening with your families or doing whatever else it is that you enjoy. Terry, Ken, thank you guys so much for being on the call with us. As I mentioned, they are local to Florida, so it's pushing 11 o'clock down there. You guys, we really, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Marshall Reddick investors, thank you guys for joining us. It has been a pleasure as usual, and I look forward to speaking with everybody tomorrow. Have a great evening, everyone. Good night.
Good night.